So, 2 days ago, I uploaded a tutorial of how to create eyes for your VTuber model, and today I'm going to be covering both the head and the mouth. Not much goes into the head, so I decided to combine them two together, but the main hard part is the mouth, because obviously you need to see inside the mouth whenever you're talking, and the tongue and the teeth and stuff, so I'm going to be going over how to lay that out today. In my last video, I showed you how to lay out Procreate for drawing your VTuber model, and I also went through sort of the generic things, so you should probably check out that one first. Today we're going to start with the head. So the main thing with the head that you need to keep in mind is that if you're doing a front-on model, you obviously just want the head front on, and you don't want any pieces attached to it. So we're going to get rid of the mouth and pretend the nose. It's not actually gone. You can connect the nose or you can not connect those, but I'm going to go through the nose in another video. But make sure that you just have a blank head. You can color it in however you want, do whatever you want with it, but you're going to want the head to be plain. Now, with the eyes, we went over the eyes the other day, but see when you blink, you have this space underneath the eye that is visible. So when you blink like this entire area is visible. So you're going to want to keep that in mind when you're shading. I recommend turning off the eye layers and then shading this part as if you were just like sleeping or something. I usually just put a darker color here and then fade it up to make sort of an eyelid shape, sort of like that. You can do whatever you want. Obviously you can, like, the eyeshadow is going to be connected and part of your eyes, so you don't need to worry about that. The head is simple. You don't want to attach anything to it unless you want the nose to be attached. Some people do attach the nose and some people don't attach the nose, so it's really just a personal preference. I recommend looking at other people's models to see what they do. Personally, I have my nose detached just so it can move more freely and with the highlights and stuff, but I'll go into that in another video. For the mouth, you need a lot of pieces because you have the outer mouth, which is the lips, and then you have the inner mouth, which is the throat, the tongue, and the teeth. So here's my model as an example. These are the layers that I use for her. So I have it divided into a lip and cheek section, but you know, it's not part. The cheek isn't relevant in this anyways. But we have the top lip, we have the bottom lip, we have the top teeth, bottom teeth, tongue, and then the throat. You can add more pieces onto these. As you can see, my throat is only just a solid color, my tongue is a solid color, the bottom teeth, they do have something here. You can see the back teeth is a different color, but you don't have to keep them connected. Like, you can have multiple pieces, and also the teeth can be more detailed than mine are, but I want them simple. Any of your stylistic choices are up to you, but I'm going to be showing you the main things of how to actually create it and how to lay it out. When you are setting up your mouth, you want to make sure that your top lip and your bottom lip are separate because you're going to move them independently. They can be connected on Live 2D, so you don't have to worry about making them super connected, but just make sure the general shape follows and puzzle pieces together, you know? Another weird thing about the lips is that because you're moving them, you kind of have to create like a layer of skin on top of them as well. So as you can see, like the top lip here, and if you look in the layers, there's a skin color on top, and then there's a skin color on the bottom lip that surrounds it. And this is because you want to cover the inside of the mouth. So if I take this away, even if I just had the lip there, you would still see the teeth there. So that's why you want to cover it. Another thing is just keep the top lip on top of the bottom lip, you know, because you're going to be moving the bottom lip a lot more, and so you want that one to be stable. As well as for the teeth, you want those separate as well because you're going to be moving them up and down depending on... You can make the mouth movement very difficult, or you can make it very simple. Like, you could just have the mouth open and close and move the tongue at different points, or you can make the tongue separate so that when you open up your mouth and you put out your tongue, it's going to come out with it. So we're back on our little dummy model, and these are the pieces that I've laid out right now. So I'm going to show this to you separately. First, we have our top lip, which, as you can see, as it moves, you can see the bottom of the teeth. So our bottom mouth, which connects, and you can see the skin around it is moving. So like I said, you're going to want that, otherwise you're going to just see everything underneath when you move the mouth. In this mouth, the teeth are poking through and the mouth is a little bit open, but you can just keep it closed. Like here, her mouth is completely closed, so it just matters what you want to do with it. But yes, I'm going to be running through how to set this up with you. So as always, when you're doing this, you want the drawing assist on if you're doing a front-on model for the symmetry tool. And unlike the eyes, you don't need to complete these in like separate right and left spaces. You can just be part of one thing because you're going to be moving like the top at one time and the bottom at one time. So you can just do this in one layer and that's fine. Personally, when I'm starting off, I will start with just the general lip shape. So for this one, I'm going to just do a little mlem face. This is essentially the top lip. I'm going to make a more anime style lip because obviously I use sort of more full lips, but that isn't usually the style that people go with, so I'm going to go with the most popular style. Next, I'm going to create the lipstick for the top. And if you're creating like a male model, you don't have to create the lipstick. Maybe just put a tiny bit of color up there, but do whatever you want really, because you know there's no really rules in terms of like the aesthetics of this. Perfect. So we have our lipstick done and we have the top mouth done. I've done them in separate layers and I'm going to join them together in a second just because it's easier to, you know, keep it clean. Now we're going to go into the slightly more difficult bit. It's not actually that difficult, it just really depends. So my model right here, obviously, it has no shading because it's meant to be a simplistic like tutorial one. But if your model has shading, I would recommend trying to keep it to a minimum at around like the mouth area because you're going to want to do like a big space of just sort of flat color so you can move it without making it clip. So for now I have a layer underneath the lipstick and the top mouth and I'm going to just create like a little skin piece. Usually I would just turn off the face for this, otherwise it gets a bit confusing. So as you can see, I just drew like this big round shape above the lip and I also extended it a little bit outwards just to make sure that we have enough coverage. And you probably will need to revise this. Sometimes I will draw the inside of the mouth first, but for this I think it's easier to show you outside in. So then once you're done that, you can just connect your layers. So we start with our little lip crease. And I'm going to just copy inside, so you can't see where I'm actually drawing right now. But I have drawn inside the lip like that. That is our bottom lip, and currently it's hidden inside of our top lip. You don't have to do it like that, you can keep it open like I did a second ago. And then we're going on to a different layer and draw on our lipstick again. And then see when you're like checking out your thing, you're going to want to turn off the top lip or whatever lip you did first and just make sure that there's no overlapping bits because it's going to look really weird because you're going to see it on like the teeth and stuff when you open your mouth. So we have our bottom lipstick done and we're going to do the exact same thing with what we did at the top where we just create like a layer of skin around it. And because, you know, see how our bottom lip doesn't extend as far? So the top skin on the top lip goes a bit further. I would just connect that just so it's a little more uniform, and then just make sure to clean up all your edges. So we have our main group and we're going to go on to the inside of the mouth. Put your layers underneath and pick whatever color you want for the inside of the throat. Usually it's more of a darky red, but you can shade it however you want. You want to create sort of a weird shape. You want to just do like a little line on the top and then a stereotypical happy face. Make sure you close your lips and see if it covers it. If it doesn't, you can either change the shape of the inside or extend the skin on the outside. Do our tongue. The tongue tends to be a more peachy red. The shape of it is kind of strange. It's like a little reverse mlem lip. That's the tongue. You can bring this up as far or as low as you want, but just try and visualize where you want it in your mouth. So with this, I turned off my top lip, but I have my bottom lip showing and you cannot see it from the bottom lip, which is kind of what I want. So let's set up another layer and do the teeth. I'm going to start with the top teeth and I'm going to do it sort of a grey colour, and for this shape you want to follow along the top of the mouth and then do a little roundy arc on the bottom. This is if you're creating like a simple smile. If you want to create one with like actual teeth, I would recommend keeping the first 4 teeth together and then creating separates. It's all stylistic, you can do whatever you want. And I'm just adding fangs here because fangs are very popular. They're not visible from the bottom. Add another layer for the bottom teeth. For this one you're doing basically the same thing. Follow along the bottom and then do the same shape. Fill it in. And then if you want back teeth, obviously this is for more simplistic style, but I will just turn down the color a little bit so it's a bit more grey, and then I will just create a arc here and then like this, like a little triangle almost, and then put it like that, and it will give the illusion that there's back teeth, but I will connect them to the bottom teeth because you don't really need to keep them separate. And again, always keep checking with your top mouth that everything is covered because you don't want the mouth to be poking out at some weird angle. It's gonna look strange. And now you have your mouth. So when you're done, you want to move it around because, like, see here, the top lip is extended too far with the skin piece, so it covers the nose a tiny bit. So I'm going to make that a bit smaller. Check it again. Yeah, and that's a bit better. You don't need to move the top lip very much. It doesn't go very far. It's usually the bottom lip that actually does all the expressions. And the thing with like Live 2D is that you don't need to draw every expression individually. This base is enough to get every expression that you need because you do all the animating in Live 2D. You can do whatever shading you want. Everything is up to you, but I would recommend keeping the skin pieces and the piece around the mouth on the face unshaded, or at least very minimally shaded, because otherwise you're going to run into problems with it. I'll show you the layers of my model again so you can see what's there and how I label them and how they're set up. So you can copy that and you can just look at the video again and it should be easy to set up. It's not really that hard, it just takes some like perspective thinking. Do whatever you want with it. So you can see through this throat, it's less square at the top, but it doesn't really matter, it just depends on the mouth shape really. So that's all there is really to creating the mouth and the head. I hope this is informative, and if it wasn't, please comment any questions you have down below and I'll be happy to answer those. And I'll see you next time.